This afternoon, the president announced a short-term deal to reopen the government after 35 days of a partial shutdown.
This is welcome news, at least temporarily, for the hundreds of thousands of federal workers who've not been paid. CBS 2's Alice Gaynor here now with their reaction tonight. Alice.
Maurice and Christine, as we all know, many workers have not been paid for more than a month. And though they're happy to receive a paycheck again, this is only a temporary plan to reopen until February 15th. So many are still nervous about what lies ahead.
For workers in New York affected by the partial government shutdown, it's been a rough go.
I had some planned vacation during the shutdown that I ended up staying at home, so I had to cancel that. Saving as much as possible so that I can make rent in February.
I didn't pay last month's rent. I got rent coming up for this month.
But finally today,
we have reached a deal to end the shutdown and reopen the federal government.
At least it's a start, so I can finally get some money coming in.
we first caught up with Keith Polite nearly 2 weeks ago as he described his struggle to make ends meet. A security guard at the National Museum of the American Indian, he hasn't been at work since the government shutdown closed the museum. After his story aired, New Yorkers stepped in to help with groceries. Someone also set him up with a job interview at City Hall. For the roughly 800,000 government employees, their paychecks are no longer being held hostage, and
I will make sure that all employees receive their back pay very quickly or as soon as possible.
But Polite is a contracted worker hired by the government, technically not a federal employee. So that means he may not receive back pay. A bill has been introduced in the Senate to provide back pay for federally contracted employees, but so far, no movement. Many are now looking beyond the next 3 weeks.
I'm not nervous per se. I'm not also optimistic either.
I have cautious optimism. I don't know what 2 decades of working in the government, I've known the devil's always in the details. So I'd like to see what's in it. Obviously, it is on the surface, it is good news to go back to work.
Now, as for Polite, he did apply to the City Hall job and is awaiting a completed background check. He says he'll report to work Monday at the museum. As for President Trump, he says if there is not a deal for his border wall by February 15th, he may declare a national emergency. Christine, Maurice?